This is a sideshow. Illegal drift meetups where absolute chaos reigns. Frequent accidents, even involving people, are no surprise to anyone here. Drivers block city streets and put on extremely dangerous shows with powerful cars right on public roads. Meanwhile, the crowd creates chaos and various crimes, from smashing cars to theft. And the craziest part is that the police just can't do anything about it. In this video, you'll learn how sideshow culture works, how racers remain unpunished for years, how they manage to change dozens of spots in one night and simply disappear.
Why even crashes don't stop them, and why nobody cares whether you walk away unharmed or not. Let's start with the fact that sideshow, or as it's sometimes called, street takeover, which literally means taking over the street, is a whole car culture that originated back in the 1980s in Oakland, California. When this movement first appeared, its organizers couldn't even imagine what it would become in the future. Initially, it was just simple gatherings of car enthusiasts in shopping mall parking lots. People came there just to show off their cars, which were mostly American muscle cars from the 60s and 70s.
Cars were often modified. You could say they were classic lowriders from GTA. Back then, it was a local community that almost nobody knew about. After all, the internet as we know it today simply didn't exist. But instead of a global network, music ruled the streets. Rap at that time connected everyone, and you could say instilled various habits that people integrated into their lives. And in 1991, the artist Richie Rich brought the first wave of popularity to this culture, specifically with his track Sideshow. After that, these gatherings began to gain mass appeal.
Many note that rap in those years started pushing people to drift cars through the streets. Drifting beautifully and safely required special skill, which was often lacking, and that only increased its popularity. In the early 2000s, DVDs appeared, along with films and recordings of these meetups. There you can see how the gatherings took place and what chaos was already beginning to unfold. Back then, intersections were blocked off, crowds gathered, and drifting happened. Thanks to such materials, sideshow began to spread across the country, and tourists who happened to witness it
helped spread the culture not only in the US, but around the world. Fast forward to today. Some of you have definitely seen videos of crashes at these shows in your recommendations. And a clip from the GTA 6 trailer shows that this is already part of America's DNA. Write in the comments whether you even knew about Sideshow before. Now that you fully understand how it started, let's take a look at a few shots of what Sideshow looks like today. Many people ask after seeing this, how do they manage to calmly gather every time, commit lawlessness on the streets, and drive off as if nothing happened?
When, for example, in the CIS countries, you can get a criminal record just for a simple sideways slide? But to understand why all this is possible, we need to look inside sideshow culture itself. Let's start with how it's organized. These days, it's pretty simple. Such events don't appear out of nowhere. Behind these nighttime chaos sessions is a whole network of people who know in advance where, when, and how everything will happen. Most often, drivers find out the meeting point in time through social media, messengers, and live streams. A logical question. Well, then nothing stops the police from catching them there. However, while the police are driving or approaching one spot, the whole crowd has already moved to the next one. There can be 10 to 15 intersections where drifting will happen in a single night. Moreover, as participants describe, drivers and the gathered crowd will do whatever it takes to get from point A to point B. Gotta drive on the wrong side? No problem. Block the police from getting through? Please. Simply put, it's a well-organized system in its own way. Races usually happen on Sundays. Many drivers gather even before sunset. They practice maneuvers somewhere in the area, check their cars, change tires. By the way, tires can be changed 8 to 10 times a week. Arrange the route. For many, this has become a lifestyle. Here's how one participant describes it.
I've been attending such events for about 5 or 6 years. Over these 5 or 6 years, the format of these parties has changed. Every time I feel something new. Sunday services have turned into something we come to. You know what I mean. these are different Sunday events. I mean, we worked 5 to 7 days a week, and on Sunday, we went out on the street. And that was our day when we, gave something back, like blessed the streets.
And yes, nobody hides anything. Constant live streams, stories,
Videos that spread instantly. This helps gather an even bigger crowd and increase the show's popularity. However, not everyone is aware of what goes on behind the scenes of this event. And so, ordinary-looking streets suddenly turn into a real battle arena. Drivers arrive at an intersection, completely block the road, and start the entertainment. I'm not exaggerating one bit. If earlier people gathered just to show off their cars, now it's a full-blown street takeover. When you see a bunch of old beaters putting on a show for the crowd screams,
that's modern sideshow in action. At one point, there was even a proposal to legalize it and turn it into an official street motorsport. Supporters of the law argued that you could make money from it, sell merch, food, and even tickets. But that initiative failed. Today, the entertainment at sideshows includes the same driving: donuts, burnouts, ghost riding, driving with the doors open, sometimes even climbing onto the hood or roof. It usually happens at intersections or empty parking lots at night, but sometimes participants even block bridges in the middle of the day. Everyone shows up.
Medics, programmers, even a pizza delivery guy decided to take part between shifts.
Hey, check this out, man. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
But if it all ended with just illegal drifting, very often, as mentioned earlier, sideshows have one interesting feature: a fierce crowd of people. Almost every time you can see people getting into fights. If a participant performs a maneuver that someone deems offensive, people jump on their car and completely trash it, and some even set it on fire. This even has its own term: town taxes. Few people show up sober. Moreover, there's an opinion that sideshows themselves are a cover to distract police from real crime.
many times while these races were happening, criminals committed robberies of stores and people, some of which ended in fatalities and shootouts. Despite police efforts, dealing with dozens of cars and riots simultaneously is nearly impossible. If you think they're doing nothing, that's not true. According to one police officer, to catch them in the US, you have to be absolutely sure they're committing a crime and catch them in the act. Another problem is that some police officers work harshly,
while others are simply afraid to get involved. Drones, specialized task forces, hidden cameras are already being used. Undercover officers infiltrate the scenes to find out secrets about upcoming meetups. But catching everyone at once is impossible. There have been cases where people from such shows were detained by the busload, and around 70 cars were confiscated in one night. But such actions breed resistance, and the whole scene of other drivers will be back together the following weekend. Police even have an account on a well-known social network where they post photos of those confiscated cars.
Confiscation for 30 days costs $2,500, but as you understand, that scares nobody. Most often, if a car is confiscated anyway, owners simply don't pick it up, especially if it's one of those cheap beaters. Helicopters don't help either. Participants scatter in all directions, like in the Fast and the Furious, to confuse the police and then regroup at a new spot. So, lap after lap. Recently, police have started increasing measures, and you can be arrested even if you're just a spectator, charged as an accomplice. Whether this helps remains an open question. You might also ask, why don't these crazy guys want to avoid problems and the risk of being caught? Well, at least by doing sideshows without blocking public streets. Here's a comment from one participant on that.
Doing takeovers and drifting on the street gives you more adrenaline than standing in line and just spinning your tires for a minute. You know, what's the point of paying to spin your tires when you can do it on the street just as well with no problems? I'd rather get my adrenaline fix and do it on the street. You know, there's a big difference. I just feel like I'm not getting enough adrenaline. And when a cop is chasing you, there's even more adrenaline.
In the end, you could say that people come there only to get emotions and adrenaline. Like, we're so cool and we're against the crowd. Look at us. A classic way of self-expression. In a way, it's youthful maximalism, but on the roads. Hence, all the lawlessness, traffic violations, crashes, and crime. Could similar meetups be organized in our country? There was one failed attempt, a gathering in the parking lot of a stadium in St. Petersburg. In the end, news reports say that many citations were issued for unauthorized modifications to vehicles. Some were sent for medical evaluation, and some faced criminal liability. And that's even though the event wasn't on an intersection, but on an ordinary empty lot near the stadium. It's hard to imagine what would happen if someone blocked a live road. Be sure to write your opinion about sideshows and this culture. I'd be glad to discuss different points of view. This was TTM with you. Thank you all for your attention.